The day the most powerful woman in the city married a poor laundry man, everyone thought she had lost her mind. Cameras flashed outside the small community hall, wealthy businessmen whispered in disbelief, and some of her closest friends quietly wondered whether she had fallen for a desperate man with nothing to offer. But none of them knew the truth. The man standing beside her in a simple, borrowed suit was hiding an empire worth billions, and he had chosen to live as an ordinary laundry worker because he wanted to discover whether someone could love him without ever knowing his wealth. Before we continue, if you believe in humanity tales, second chances, kindness, and the idea that a person's heart matters more than their bank account, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories. Her name was Amara Bennett, a brilliant young CEO who had inherited a struggling clothing company after her father's sudden death. Within 5 years, she had transformed the company into one of the fastest-growing fashion brands in the country. She lived in a magnificent mansion, drove expensive cars, and attended meetings surrounded by executives, investors, and people who measured success by numbers. Yet behind the polished image was a woman who had grown tired of people treating her like a walking bank account. Every man who approached her seemed interested in her company, her influence, or her lifestyle. Almost nobody cared about the lonely woman behind the CEO title. Then, one rainy afternoon, Amara saw a man sitting beside a roadside washing area, carefully cleaning clothes by hand. His name was Daniel Carter. His shirt was old, his shoes were worn, and his hands were rough from years of work. He operated a tiny laundry service that barely earned enough to pay for food and rent. At least, that was what everyone believed. Amara had stopped because her car had broken down nearby. While waiting for her driver to arrange another vehicle, she noticed an elderly woman struggling to carry a heavy basket of clothes. Daniel immediately left his work, carried the basket across the road, and refused the money the woman offered. Amara watched quietly. She had seen thousands of people perform kindness when cameras were watching, but Daniel had no idea anyone important was observing him. A few days later, Amara returned to the same place with a large bag of expensive clothes. She wanted to test whether Daniel would recognize their value and charge her differently. He didn't. He treated her exactly like every other customer. He carefully cleaned the clothes, repaired a damaged sleeve without charging extra, and returned everything neatly folded. When Amara asked why he had repaired the sleeve for free, Daniel simply explained that he couldn't return something damaged when he knew he could fix it. That answer stayed in her heart. Their friendship slowly grew. Amara began visiting the laundry regularly, sometimes pretending she had clothes to collect when she simply wanted someone to talk to. Daniel never asked about her wealth. He never tried to impress her. He listened when she spoke about her father's death, the pressure of running a company, and the loneliness of being surrounded by people who always wanted something from her. Daniel had secrets of his own. Years earlier, he had created a technology company with his childhood friend. The business had grown into a global logistics and textile empire, but after a painful betrayal by people close to him, Daniel had stepped away from the spotlight. His trusted executives managed the company while he lived quietly under his middle name, working at the laundry and studying people's character. He wanted to know who would respect him if they believed he had nothing. Then Amara discovered she was facing a crisis. Her company was nearly bankrupt after a dishonest executive secretly redirected millions of dollars from several projects. Investors were preparing to abandon her. The board wanted her removed. Newspapers began calling her a failed CEO. Even people she considered friends stopped answering her calls. One evening, Amara sat outside Daniel's laundry with tears in her eyes. She expected him to tell her that everything would be fine. Instead, he reminded her that losing money was painful, but losing herself while trying to protect money would be far worse. He encouraged her to investigate the company's records carefully and fight for the truth. Those words gave her courage. Amara eventually uncovered the fraud and cleared her name, but the company still needed enormous financial support to survive. She refused to ask Daniel for money. She didn't even know he possessed any. When Daniel proposed, Amara hesitated. She knew society would mock her for marrying a laundry worker. Her board members warned her that the marriage would damage her reputation. Some friends called him a gold digger. But Amara remembered every moment when Daniel had helped people without expecting anything in return. She chose him. Their wedding was simple. There were no extravagant decorations, no celebrity guests, and no army of photographers. Daniel wore a modest suit, while Amara wore a beautiful but simple wedding dress. As they exchanged rings, Daniel looked at her with tears in his eyes because, for the first time, he knew someone had chosen him without knowing the truth. But the secret could not remain hidden forever. Only a few weeks after the wedding, Amara received an invitation to an emergency meeting with the largest investors in her company. She entered the conference room expecting another attempt to remove her. Instead, every executive stood up when Daniel walked in behind her. The chairman of the meeting greeted him with respect and addressed him as the founder and principal owner of the global Carter Group. Amara froze. She looked at Daniel, unable to understand what she was hearing. The man she had known as a poor laundry worker was actually the billionaire owner of an international business empire. His companies operated across several countries, and his fortune was large enough to rescue her struggling company many times over. But Daniel didn't use his wealth to embarrass her. He simply explained that he had hidden his identity because he wanted their relationship to be built on trust rather than money. He told her that she was the first person who had ever chosen him when she believed he had nothing. Amara's eyes filled with tears. She realized that the man she thought she had rescued from poverty had actually been quietly protecting the person inside her that the world had forgotten. Daniel then made an unexpected announcement. He offered financial support to save Amara's company, but only under one condition: she would remain its CEO and rebuild it honestly. Together, they created a foundation that provided education, housing assistance, and small business opportunities for struggling families. Years later, people still talked about the billionaire who had once washed clothes beside a roadside drain and the powerful CEO who had married him when she believed he was poor. But whenever someone asked Daniel what the greatest investment of his life had been, he never mentioned his companies. He simply looked at Amara and said that sometimes the richest thing a person can find is someone who sees their heart before they see their wealth. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who believes in kindness, and subscribe to Humanity Tales for more stories about love, humanity, second chances, and unexpected miracles. And before the story ends, comment, "True love sees the heart," if you believe that a person's character is worth more than their money. Because sometimes, the person the world considers worthless is carrying a treasure nobody can see, and sometimes, the greatest love story begins when two people believe they have nothing to gain from each other.